Oh, man, I love coffee so fucking much. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. Yesterday, CJDACHAMP, as y'all know, one of my personal favorite YouTubers of all time, has made a new video. I personally haven't seen Vikings or whatever this anime is about, but that hasn't stopped me before, because in one of CJDACHAMP's oldest videos, or not oldest, but older videos, has actually ended up becoming one of my personal favorite animes. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, the Tokyo Revengers Black Air Force, the anime, and honestly, I'm willing to roll the dice, see if there's a new anime I could personally find myself watching, because I'm almost finished with Hunter x Hunter. I'm almost finished with Demon Slayer, excluding season 4 and the new episode that released this last Sunday. And I need something a little bit different besides Naruto Shippuden. And what is the last? Oh yeah, how can I fucking forget One Piece? Either or, with me being Nordic pagan and all. Got my runes, got my Mjolnir. Let's see what this anime is about. Plus, I've been needing to upload a new video because, being honest with y'all, I've been partially bored having to video edit Smash Bros, so this is a nice refresher. Either or, let's go ahead and get started with this.
Disclaimer. War. Violence. Brutality. Pillaging. I take all they motherfucking...
Also, CJDACHAMP, I know your motherfucking ass plays Super Smash Bros. So, I still want to get you on for a video playing Super Smash Bros. Because of how many different clips you use of the game.
Killing. Watch me hit this snipe, bro. Come on, man. We gotta get out of here.
Archery 100. Archery 100.
Headshot, baby. Taking booty. I'm a warrior. And eating this large piece of meat. With no amount of seasoning. This was just another day in the books for the Viking. And on today of this episode of Black Air Force Energy Z, we will not just be diving into one, but 4 of these absolute monstrosities on their quest to be praised in Valhalla and walk the halls of the glorious round table.
Valhalla rejoice us all. Also, one thing I normally don't like to say because I find it partially redundant, if y'all like what I do on this channel, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you want to see the other CJDACHAMP reactions, wrong way, go check up in this corner over here, and I'll have them all linked down below. Hopefully the audio issues I've had before are mostly over, and I can slowly start adjusting for y'all's better enjoyment.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as you could tell, this is not gonna be any normal-looking trial. Doesn't cover like 4 people. But, we do what we gotta do. So, we start off with this man waking up in a wheat field, and his shawty is calling him from a distance. Oh, say less. So it looks like this is just your average run-of-the-mill, peaceful-looking dude.
Is this going to be some
he wasn't always like
Bleach
this man
type
right
of shit?
Is one of the most feared Vikings of all time. Brody was just having a fever dream because this man is just mopping the floor with these niggas. Dog is picking up multi-kill after multi-kill.
Damn! Damn!
Slinging, slasher. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first absolute savage, Thor's. First of all, you
okay,
should
makes
know
sense.
a demon
Makes
just
sense.
by his name. Nigga's name is Thor, but plural. And you're gonna start to notice something too. Every person that has Thor at the beginning of their name is a damn demon. But anyways, after bro just cleared out multiple ships with absolutely no effort, this one brave soul right here was like, oh, I gotta fight this nigga. I can't go out like no bitch. Bitches don't get let into Valhalla. So bro ran at him, but obviously this poor soul got washed. The dog ended up saying something in his dying breath. The dude said, my shorty, I'm sorry. So Blood had Thor's thinking. Thor's was like, you know what? Maybe this life ain't for me. So while this man is casually thinking in deep thought and gets shot with an arrow and is not phased, this other dude tried to come and kill him, but dude threw him in the water and went from Thor to Aquaman. Nigga turned into Jason Momoa and switched verses. So I can't do this no more. I got family values. So dog just straight up dipped and deserted. So 15 years end up passing and this man Thor's is living a peaceful life. Man settled down with his lovely wife. He got a daughter and his peaceful, innocent, unproblematic son named Thorfinn, who will clearly
a foreshadowing
become a danger to society in his teenage years.
There it is. There it is. With that being said, I'm actually going to go get my weed real quick. And for today, I am going to be smoking on LA Confidant, which is a 5% sativa, 95% indica dominant. On top of that, it has 23 THC and 22 terps for this specific grow.
Even though Thor's has been living a peaceful life, well, the game kind of caught back up to that brother. Because all these Vikings ended up pulling up to the village, and this L-man's right here, Floki. This blockhead ass nigga. You
Floki.
can't tell me bro's head is not built like a Thor's. So he starts saying, man, Thor's, listen, man, I knew you was a bitch, but I ain't know you was this much of a bitch. Nigga deserted for what? To take care of a family? Wake up on a Sunday morning and get some coochie? Nigga thought he could live a peaceful life. Nigga, shut your blockhead ass up. Nigga, what the fuck you want? All right, listen.
I might edit him having a thwomp the entire time, as long as he's on screen.
Man, nigga, fuck your peaceful life and stop being a bitch. No, now get the fuck out of my village. All right. But, you know, this village do look pretty nice. I ain't gonna lie to you, boy.
It's going to get pillaged. It's going to get pillaged.
Have a little fun and raid this motherfucker. But yeah, bro, this man Floki started blackmailing, bro. Dog said, yeah, I'ma raid your village and you should be happy that we ain't executing your ass right now. So Thor's has to go back to war. And all these people are excited they are going to war. Look at this old ass man. Bro is saying, oh yeah, sonny, it's been 75 long years. No. Hell nah, bro. You can't pay me to live back in this time. It got so bad that his own son was ready to go to war. Thor's had to come over to him and say, boy, what the fuck are you doing? Dad, I'm just getting ready for war. I'm coming with you, aren't I? No, boy, you're too young. You don't have enough
Kratos.
testosterone yet. But Dad! Boy, listen to me. You have no enemies, boy. Also, you don't have an ounce of hair on your balls yet. What the fuck makes you think you're gonna go out there and go to war? Man, this is more bullshit. Fuck you, Pops. Boy, where are you going? Boy! Oof. Ooh, little baby ass kid. So later on, while this man Thor's is on the ship heading out to the war, and Thorfinn's little baby ass decide to jump on the ship, they end up pulling up in this ravine. So while they selling in the ravine, they end up realizing, wait a minute, bro, something is awfully wrong.
It's a trap?
And then this man Thor's ends up realizing, oh shit, we about to get jumped. Hey, bag this hoe up. So then at the top of the ravine, you see these level 1 bandits, and they like, smart little motherfucker, blood must got spidey senses. So, the nigga thinks he's smart by going the other way. Who gives a damn? Fuck him, drop that shit. So they end up dropping a bunch of debris in the ravine and trapping them in so they can't escape. And the man behind this jumping is none other than one of the goats
Floki?
himself, the most dastardly nigga on this round table, the level 99 bandit himself, Askeladd. This man is the literal human embodiment of run your pockets. This nigga has robbed so many people, he makes Bonnie and Clyde look like some damn novices. Bro don't even need this nigga Lester to plan a heist. Shit, to be honest, bro don't even need a crew. Bro could probably solo Pacific Standard himself. So while they pulling up, this man...
I didn't play that much GTA to realize that.
You wanted to go
or to get to that
so
heist.
badly, then so be it, little nigga, because we about to get active in this hoe. So this man Thor's wasted no time. Dog jumped on their ship, and bruh said, fuck a sword. I only need my fist for you level 1 NPCs. Lord good God on Bertha, that is the most demon backhand I have seen. And then the other bandit's like, you never should have come here. But it didn't matter because this nigga Thor's was Dragonborn. Bro casually slept everybody on this ship. Then dog walked over to the next one. Nigga said, yeah. And look at this poor soul. Bro ran at him with his axe. Nigga said, finish him. Oh shit.
Broke his arm. Did me and CJDACHAMP just say break his arm at the exact same time?
Continued to put on a clinic of anti-jumping. This man Bjorn got zooted off the shrooms and started hulking out. Bro was so high off his ass, he didn't even know he was fighting his own team. But this man Thor's was not phased. Bro had his critical art ready. Bro hit him with the chin. So after Thor's finished farming XP with all these level 1 niggas, he pulled up on Askeladd and was ready for the boss fight. Bro said, I challenge ye to a duel, hoe-ass nigga. But this man Askeladd was like, man, motherfucker, what the fuck you think this is, a game? My nigga, I just came here to jump your ass. What the fuck you mean, my nigga? Yeah, I don't know if you know him, but got a blockhead? Floki? Yeah, he contracted me to jump you. Rat-ass motherfucker. So yeah, bro, remember when I called that man Floki a L-mans? Yeah, bro went behind Thor's back the whole time and was setting him up. But Askeladd, being a gentleman, decided to accept the duel. So they started fighting, I ain't gonna lie, Askeladd held on for a bit. But that man Thor's had that freak-ass strength. So bro started overpowering him and caught him slipping. So while Thor's got Askeladd locked up, Askeladd start pressing him, bro saying, well, come on now, motherfucker, go ahead and do it. Kill me, you soft-ass nigga. Oh, don't tell me the legendary troll of Yam is a bitch. But this man Thor's was like, no, taking life is for the weak. A true warrior does not need a sword. But this man Askeladd was like, man, fuck your philosophy, you weak-ass nigga. Motherfucker, you really thought I was about to play by the motherfucking rules and follow your bitch-ass, pacifist ass, goddamn ideology nigga, motherfucker, who the fuck you think you is? Gandhi nigga? Man, shoot this soft-ass nigga.
Oh shit. But he's still standing.
Called blood lacking in the trenches. But this man Thor's was such a damn savage. Bro died while standing up. Bro said, let me flex on these hoes before I die. But with the death of a savage, another savage was born that day. One of the most demented, toxic little niggas of all time. This little damn demon child was born. Look at how demented he looks. And bro was yelling, I am going to kill you niggas. I will be the last thing you ever see. So over time, Thorfinn just gets exposed to just absolute savagery. One day he just watches Askeladd and his crew just pillage an entire village. Then later on that night, Thorfinn tried to sneak him, but he ended up remembering his dad's teachings. Bro was like, I can't kill this nigga. I'll go out like a bitch another day. So then earlier that morning, Thorfinn challenges Askeladd to a duel. Bro was like, to avenge my father, fight me, old nigga. So this man Thorfinn started attacking him, but Askeladd looked at him and said, leave.
Jesus Christ.
Kids, I tell you, take your ass.
Do it.
thing that happened to Thorfinn is what these trifling ass niggas did to him after the fight. They looked at him and said, well, hey kid, you look kind of hungry. And throws this kid a damn the bone and tells him, hey, it got a little more meat on it. Clean the bone, little nigga. No, bro. That is beyond trifling. And then Thorfinn runs away and they like, well, damn, I mean, shit, we was just trying to be nice. No, bro. So after multiple ass whoopings from Askeladd and catching multiple bodies as a child, many years pass and Thorfinn is now a fully blown, raged out menace to society. So one day
he's a fucking goblin. Did y'all see that? Yeah.
Menace years pass and Thorfinn
In D&D terms, this motherfucker is a goddamn dual-wielding rogue goblin. Also, I hate seeing this, being honest.
Fully blown, raged out menace to society. So one day they're contracted to fight this one battle, helping out this ugly ass boy built like a 4'3" fat ass cart titan. So early on, Askeladd
I didn't even watch
Thorfinn,
Attack on Titan, but that's fucking
if you
true.
the head of a general, I'll give you another duel. So while they fighting this battle, Thorfinn asks this dude, hey blood, who the enemy general and shit? Oh yeah, you see the guy with the feather on his head? Enemy spotted. Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker. Target acquired. So this man Thorfinn blitzed to the front lines, jumped all the way to the wall, and pulled up on them like, all y'all ugly some bitches is dying today. So bro just starts going on a
Damn!
Look at this first person camera view. Bro started playing Ghost Runner. Slice, intestines, give me your intestines, weave, and makes a mad dash to the leader and decapitates him cleanly.
Fatality.
Bro ends up forgetting, shit, I need his head, and jumps off and leaves. Bro came for one purpose and one purpose only. So while Thorfinn did that, this man Askeladd came into the battle while they were holding up these ships and running with these hoes. His whole crew cleared out the entire fortress. Then after they were done, they robbed the fat nigga. They took
Oh, that was one of the best edits. I've definitely done that to someone before. In my schooling, yeah, no, that shit was all fucking everywhere.
And this man Askeladd told him, hey, ugly ass boy, appreciate doing business with your ugly ass nigga. Now I know this your trash and shit, but we taking this as a down payment. Then this man Thorfinn jumped on the ship, threw the head at him, and told him, hey, yo, nigga, rub me my fucking fade. So this man Askeladd said, shit, alright. First thing in the morning. So before Askeladd and Thorfinn had their next duel, Askeladd had to greet his hoes. Hey, how y'all fine ass ladies doing today? Oh my God, Zaddy, yes! Thank y'all very much. I love y'all too. Big Bertha, I see your fine ass over there with that strong ass jawline on your baby girl. Beat me that fine, sexy ass, boo boo. Hey, hold on, I got something for y'all lovely ladies. Hey, show me them titties if y'all want some new motherfucking ice in this motherfucking nigga.
Hey, Daddy.
And that duel with Thorfinn, Brody got his ass whooped again.
Wait, was that Krollos from Hunter x Hunter? I think that fucking is.
Yeah, Brody got his ass whooped again. But ladies and gentlemen, we have yet been introduced to the biggest monstrosity on this trial. Oh yes, a soul man that embodies the definition of savagery. And would you believe me if I told you that this man was a real person?
Wait. Are we talking? No, it's not Vlad. It's basically the immortal king that, or not king, but the immortal leader of the prominent Vikings. I can't remember his name, but this dude, quote unquote, escaped death so many fucking times. And I remember at the end of his, like whenever he actually died, he just was on a horse going through a village and he got pelted through with arrows. And that was his actual death, but so many people didn't actually think that he died. So he basically, quote unquote, became immortal.
Standing at a whopping 7'7", the ultimate terror himself, Thorkel the Tall. Look at this fucking behemoth. This is pure insanity. Bro is casually chucking
Damn.
couple kills. This nigga is a monster. So this man Thorkill defected to fight with the English for money, but also the real reason why he left because bro was bored, because nobody could fight him. So he said, I'm just gonna go fight my own people. So the Elman's Floki himself came up to him because he wanted to try to buy him back. But while bro was trying to do these negotiations, he had to be shitting bricks. Because look at this man come behind bro right here. He is palming his head. So this man
Damn, Shaq.
Floki, hey, what's going on, my nigga? Did you finally come to fight me? Enough with the bullshit, you big bastard. Listen, the king has a message for you. Surrender now and please come back, and thy king will pay you double. Oh man, that's no fun. I think that's a hard pass. Nigga, what? Be reasonable. Reasonable? I'll be honest with you, my only reason is just have a good fight.
Hell no!
So tell your king to shove this boulder up his ass!
Oh shit!
Oh man, I fucking missed. So the king started sending his forces again. So to counter their attack, this man decided to throw logs. He was
Damn.
throwing logs and destroyed their entire fleet. So this man Thorfinn decided to pull up because Askeladd told him, I'll give you another duel if you go fight Thorkill. But little did Thorfinn know that he was heading to a baptism. So Thorkill told everybody, nobody lay hands on the little man. This little strawberry shortcake is mine. So this man Thorfinn started fighting the boss fight of his life. But I ain't gonna lie, he started off nice. Bro landed a nice little cut, and he had Thorkill like, wow, amazing. You cut me. I haven't been wounded in over a decade.
Ain't no fucking way, boy.
I like you, little nigga. So Thorfinn ended up stabbing him in the hand, but it was too
That
late
ain't
to be
shit.
true, because bro was like, I caught you.
Did he pull the dragon treatment and just rip it
He
out?
started to get thrashed. He started picking him up and slamming him on the ground repeatedly.
He's
He gave him the
holy shit. Damn.
his body. That hoe is dangling. And this man Thorkill was like, hey man, wake up. We were just getting started. But this man Thorfinn ended up cutting off his fingers, but he is not phased. What is this man's pain receptors? Bro just lost 2 fingers and he is smiling. So Thorfinn ends up leaving and Thorkill starts telling him,
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
little man, make sure to bring your ass back. So this man Thorkill decided to continue these insane charades. Bro was tired of waiting for them at the bridge, so he went on the attack. Him and his men decided to attack the enemy base, and he decided to hit him with his signature log smash. And he pulls up on Canute, a whole prince, and captures him. What was that man's royal guard doing? But later on, while Thorkill and his men are transporting Canute, they end up stopping because bro's spidey senses started tingling. So this man jumped off the cart, grabbed a spear, and said, let's see, you should be hiding right over there.
Oh my god.
Damn.
Nope. I'm done, bro. Just go ahead, pull that seat up and
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
My guy just basically hit a trick shot. He just grabbed that hoe, randomly chucked that bitch, and he got a headshot. Yo, I am sick. So this whole army ends up revealing themselves, and they started telling them, yeah, y'all surrounded by 2,000 troops. Surrender Thorkill and release thy prince and saw Conehead. But this is when bro started getting more insane and the absurdity started to spike. He releases Canute back to the army just so he could fight them and recapture him.
What
This man
the
started showing off
fuck?
his A1 instigating skills. He started telling them, so since y'all got the prince back now, y'all want to start scrapping? I mean, you have nothing to worry about, and we are the enemy, right? Or are y'all too pussy? You know what they say? Bitches don't get let into Valhalla. Ooh, my God, kill this nigga!
Oh, they're all fucking dead. They're all dead. I can already tell.
Turning into a human meat grinder. He is cutting through these poor souls like paper. Jesus, I'm gonna have a terrible time having to censor this. So after Thorkel caught like a 100-body kill streak, Askeladd and his men end up third partying. Because earlier on, this man got intel that they was moving Canute. So after he decapitated the messenger so he could take the prince and get all the reward money, bro set a whole forest fire, sent Thorfinn in to snag the prince to take his ass to snag the reward money. So after Askeladd pulled off that stunt, they are now on the run from Thorkel because everybody wants the prince. These niggas are playing oddball. So while Askeladd and his crew are on the run, they end up doing some inhumane shit. Take for example, they end up raiding this one village in the cold, harsh winter. Now keep in mind, these people are minding their damn business. They just chilling, saying grace, and getting ready to grub. These niggas busting this bitch, sends this lady to the shadow realm. They
Damn.
take all of their food, grab all the villagers, get them together, and look at this poor man. Bro said, please, sir, don't take all our food. How are we gonna survive the winter? And Askeladd told them, man, you'll be fine. Matter of fact, you won't ever have to worry about surviving another winter ever again. And they killed all of them. Every single last villager, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, also, he snuck Cohead. But anyways, later on, Thorkel ends up catching up. And Dog was wasting no time. He said, you know what? Let me hit another trick shot for my montage. So this man loads up every single bit of testosterone in his body and chucks that hole and hits a quad collat. So after Thorkel just pulled off
Man
one of the most
literally
monstrous
got a
trick shots
triple
of all
P.
time, Askeladd's men are done. They don't even want to continue the mission no more. They are turning on him. Them niggas said betrayal. Cause they like, nah, bro, give us the prince because we're giving them the Thorkel. So this man Askeladd was like, so y'all just want to turn on me now, huh? Me, big homie Askeladd, huh? Well, you know what? Suck my dick. So all hell just breaks loose. Askeladd just starts going wild. Look at his tomahawk throw.
I'm about to blow.
So about 5 minutes pass, and Askeladd is on his last legs, but the man has went on a rampage. But he is still going buck wild. He split this man in two. But then they ended up shooting arrows at him. They said, we gonna do you just like we did Thor's. But when they about to kill him, Thorkel ends up pulling up. So Askeladd and his men start trying to reason with Thorkel, but this man wasn't trying to hear any of that. So he went over to Askeladd and said, you look strong. I like you. Alrighty, I've made my decision. Kill everyone except for Askeladd. So they start fighting everybody, and this bozo right here walks up to Thorkel and says, wait, please reconsider. But this man handed him an axe and said, here you go, fight like a man. Don't go outside. And he had this man so shook, he fried his brain.
Well, what the hell, boy?
The nigga is not working up there anymore. So while the battle is getting to its climax, Thorfinn blazes into the fray on his steed. Bro said, I am ready for phase 2 of this boss fight. So Thorkel decided to bump up his insanity meter to the highest. This nigga, Shoryuken the horse. No.
What the fuck?
I've seen the most from this man. From using logs as weapons, throwing spears and getting collaterals, and now uppercutting a horse. This man is truly an anomaly to mankind. So all the fighting just stops because everybody wants to witness this duel. This is like a school fight at this point, except nobody has their phone out and is recording at terrible ass angles. So they start fighting, and it looks like Thorfinn has maxed out his evading skills. So Thorkel told Thorfinn, wow, you got some balls, kid. You must have got that from your father. And this man Thorfinn's like, wait, what the hell you mean by that? Then bro says, oh yeah, I'm your uncle.
Well, what the hell, boy?
Everybody starts laughing at Thorfinn, but Thorkel plays whack-a-mole with this man's head and says, alrighty, now y'all best shut the fuck up. Nephew got more balls than y'all. Now come get this fade, nephew. And bruh rips off his coat in this cold ass weather. This motherfucker is crazy. So Thorfinn actually started cutting him up. Bro was pulling off a miracle. But it was too good to be true. Cause bro made a smoke screen and kicked this nigga to Valhalla. Bro said, how's the view, nephew? And then look at him fall, bro. Oh, Lord. But Thorfinn gets up trying to fight again. But Thorkel's like, hey nephew, check that arm though. And bro's arm is doing a negative 90-degree angle. So this man Askeladd had to start coaching him up. Bro said, get your shit together, little nigga. You better not go out like no bitch, boy. So Thorkel continues to go crazy, but Askeladd told Thorfinn, this monster actually has a weak spot, but it'll only show up for a moment. So Thorfinn had to start playing possum to get Thorkel to come up to him to about to finish him off. So
Oh, don't be some...
Askeladd could blind him for just a second for Thorfinn to land a critical hit on this man's chinny chin chin to actually knock him down. And Thorfinn jumps on him and starts to gouge out his eye. This is a fucking miracle. But then Thorkel's men started trying to kill him. But Thorkel said, cut that shit out. Don't you dare embarrass me like this. He went up to his second command and said, what the fuck, bro? Why you do that? And bro said, listen, my nigga, I'm trying to save your legacy. What you think people gonna think when they heard your big ass got knocked down by that little nigga, huh? So yeah, bro, Thorkel had to take his first L in like years. And now we finally get to Askeladd and Thorfinn's last duel. And how did this plan out? Right, Thorfinn gets his ass whooped for the 50 millionth time. Bro is the baby. The nigga has not changed his flow. This man Askeladd was bored. It was like, damn, little nigga, learn some new moves. I can speed run you at this point. So now we get to Askeladd's last hoorah. In the moment that cemented him as one of the greatest menaces to society of all time, this man gets invited to a party by the King of Denmark for helping out Canute. You know what this nigga Askeladd did? Bro just his head. He just decapitated the King of Denmark. And
him versus the city now. Him versus the city.
Arthur. But I ain't gonna lie, I'll do the same thing. He was talking nasty about his mama. And then he just went on a rant.
Okay, that's fair
he was
then.
Killing everybody. Bro said, come on, nigga. Bro said, fuck Game of Thrones. I'm about to make the Raid of Wedding 2.0. So then Canute finally put him down because they had a plan to, you know, take out the king and everything. But obviously this ain't sit well with Thorfinn because that man was pissed. Bro was like, he was my kill, you son bitch. But that man Askeladd went out like a damn goat. Man said, live your life, little nigga. Go on a redemption arc or something. And after that, that man Thorfinn went from YB to MLK.
Hey, stop the violence. Hey, look at me. I could promise you it's a bigger side of life.
Well, this was really fucking interesting. I actually don't know what to say for the post of it, but as well, I think I have a new anime to watch. I'm just going to leave it as simple as that. Yeah, now let's go back to here. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, it's been a little bit since I've made a Magic the Gathering deck tech, and I have a new deck to show you. I personally haven't played this yet, so I don't know exactly how the testing is going to be with it, but it seems like it'll be very interesting. Let's just put it like that. With it, let me do this. With it, I feel like it will be, hold on, no. I think I also did the wrong intro. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, I know things have been a little, fuck! Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, I know it's been a little bit since I've uploaded my last deck tech, but I have a new deck for y'all that I feel like is pretty consistent, pretty strong, and I feel like that I can actually enjoy. With it, our commander today is Ovika, Enigma Goliath. It is a 7 mana, is a commander, and the prominent thing about this commander is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until end of turn. Our gimmick today is basically kind of like a Kaikar situation in the sense of we are abusing this non-creature spell and getting a massive go-wide army. Where is... Oh, wait, no, it's towards the bottom. With it, this is a fairly low-to-the-ground deck in the sense of a lot of our stuff is trying to, A, get us more bodies, or B, draw us more cards. And if we have Ovika out, it'll actually be a little bit of both. So even though we're a little bit shy on lands, there are 32 of them. There's no MBFCs. And with those two concepts in mind, our biggest tribal synergy is goblins. Because Ovika makes goblins. It'll make it a little more apparent whenever I start going into the list. But if y'all like go wides and just do a shit ton of damage, more than likely you will like this Ovika deck list. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 major synergies that kind of go along with this. With it, as soon as we have our creatures out, our pump spells are Ataliz, the Cinderwind, which gives wizards +1/+1. There are a few different wizards in this deck. I think it's actually the most common creature type, excluding the goblins we make. Balmor, which basically does the exact same thing, but it gives +1/+0 instead of +1/+1, but they gain trample so we can get over bigger stuff. Obelisk of Erd makes our goblins 3/3s, and Shared Animosity gives a pump for the number of goblins we have. With how many goblins we're actually making in this deck, we have a few ways of taking advantage of it with what we're doing in the sense of Boggart shenanigans. We'll be doing additional damage whenever a goblin is sacrificed, which there are a few different sacrifices into this deck. Have a little more burn and whenever we attack with goblins, as long as we don't have Shared Animosity or Obelisk of Erd, but at that point it really doesn't matter as much. City on Fire to triple our damage, plus with how many goblins we're actually making, the Convoke actually is a lot more important here in contrast to Fiery Emancipation. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any creature as long as we sacrifice a creature, which we'll have a lot of. Another damage multiplier. Whenever they enter, we also am doing damage. And the last burn spell that we have is Kessig Flame Breather. Since we have so many non-creature spells into this deck, let me see how many in specific. There's 18 creatures and 32 lands, so literally half the deck. So at most we can do 50 damage with Kessig Flame Breather. Our potential win cons for the deck may seem a little bit strange, but whenever I show y'all a little bit more of the deck, I can more accurately, or it'll make a little more sense. Altar of the Brood is our first potential win con. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills that. Mills a card for each permanent. Tokens in this case do count towards a permanent entering the battlefield. So with Ovika, and let's say playing Obelisk of Erd, City on Fire, we would get 6, 7, 8 different mill. Because of how many different... Oh my god. Because of how many different draw cards we have in this deck, we run Laboratory Maniac so we have something besides just attacking in this deck. And the last one we run is Strixhaven Stadium, which can knock an opponent out depending on the number of creatures that deal combat damage. Getting into the draw cards, this is a little more lenient, but what we run is Apex of Power, gives us 7 cards off the top, even though it's not draw, and we get 10 mana from it. Convoke, draw 2, or counterspell, whichever we need. Plus, it has a high CMC, giving us more goblins off of Ovika. Azami, Lady of Scrolls. I think there's 12 wizards in the deck, so at most we can draw 12 cards. If not, we still get the trigger off of Azami for itself. Biden of Thassa, which draws us cards whenever a creature deals combat damage. Cathartic Reunion, discard 2, draw 3. Cryptic Command, draw a card. Curiosity Crafter, kind of like a Biden of Thassa, but for only the creature tokens, but we have a bunch of creature tokens that we generate. Duretti, if we need to reoccur something, we also can. Distant Melody for the number of goblins we're creating. Fist of Flame, kind of like a Balmor type of card that gives us a Minor Pump and a Trample. Inspiring Refrain, which is a draw 2 for mana 3, but we get to use it every 3 turns, giving us an Ovika trigger. We're going to be going wide, so keep watch. Kindred Discovery, we're going to choose goblins, and whenever a goblin enters the battlefield or attacks, we're going to draw something. Mind's Eye, when an opponent draws a card, we can draw along with them. Whenever we draw cards, we deal damage to a creature or a player, and has a draw effect built onto it. Pirate's Pillage, discard, draw 2, create 2 treasures. Kind of another Ovika-esque trigger where we can remove 3 oil counters, discard a card, and draw a card. And then if we discarded a non-creature, we also deal damage. Skull Clamp, because the goblins are 1/1, one of the best draw cards in this deck. Temple Bell, it's a non-creature that allows us to draw cards, even though we are helping our opponent. Thrill of Possibility, discard to draw 2. Same thing with Tormenting Voice. Unexpected Windfall, but we also create 2 treasure tokens with it. And Windfall. And yes, before anyone asks, yes, I do have Narset, Parter of Veils into the deck. I mostly use Mycosynth Lattice in this deck for making all of our permanents, or all of our spells and permanents, colorless, so that we can just kind of cheat mana. Plus it's 6 mana, giving us 6 goblins. I already told y'all I already have Narset in the deck, basically ripping an opponent's hand. Relentless Assault gives us more goblins, which have haste, and will give us a additional combat. Step through will have us search through for any of our wizards. Really, we don't even use this first effect. If it just said the second part, I'm willing to bet the card would be a lot more. Search to victory. Let's take any of our instants of sorceries, give our creatures a buff, and copy the spell, or casting a copy of the spell whenever we deal combat damage. And for this reason is why we also run Laboratory Maniac. And the last one of the miscellaneous type of cards is Vidalcan Humiliator, which sets everyone to our level in the sense of goblins, but whenever we include a lot of these burn spells, we're going to be doing a lot more than they can do to us. The additional token makers I have in this deck are Brutaclad. The haste isn't as beneficial, but we can make stuff a little bit bigger, or we can turn it into, I don't know, an additional Ovika, because that'll shit'll get degenerate. Krinko, because we generate goblins. Our instants of sorceries cost 1 less for each creature token I control. An additional Ovika for a servo. Instant of sorceries creating drakes, and insects gives us a card and facilitates itself back into the deck. Our mana rocks, or our mana cards, are Arcane Signet, Battle Hymn for each creature I control, which can get out of hand seriously. Fire Diamond, because low to the ground rocks. Heraldic Banner for a buff. Is it not Boiler Works? Is it Locket? Because it also draws us cards. Same thing with Network Terminal. We need, sometimes it's nice to have a sack outlet, but it can actually also extend our plays exponentially in this deck because of how many goblins we're generating. Skirk Prospector for the exact same reason. Low to the ground Diamond. Soul Ring because it's commander. Traveler's Amulet so that we can thin out our deck and get whatever land we're needing, and Unwinding Clock because we run a few different rocks. And the last little bit of this deck is actually just ways to get additional triggers out of different things. Harmonic Prodigy. We do run a lot of wizards in this deck, so just getting an additional trigger out of all of those is really nice. Karok the Thumbless gives us an additional instant of sorcery, whether it's a copy or adding it back to our hand. And Strionic Resonator, so that we can trigger Ovika. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. And I know it's been a little bit since I've posted deck techs, but I've been updating some of my personal favorite decks over the last few months. And with it, I wanted to make a run back to one of my personal favorite decks. And I want to say my most consistently updated deck for like the videos I've made, because I absolutely love this fucking deck. With it, it's my mono green Halsin's Berry Pie deck. Originally it was called Trippy Token Transmutation, but Halsin's Berry Pie makes it a little more beneficial in the sense of, or makes sense a little bit more in my opinion. For those that don't know, Halsin can turn any type of token into a 4/4 bear in addition to its other colors types of token, whatever it is. With it, one of the biggest things we like to do in this deck is Well, actually, let's do this a little bit different. For those that don't know, Halsing, for 1 mana, can turn any target token I control into a green bear with base power and toughness 4/4 in addition to its other colors and types. What that means is if we have keywords or anything like that, they'll maintain that keyword while being switched over into a 4/4 bear. So the main gimmick of this deck, and the most important card of this deck, is Academy Manufacturer, which if we generate a clue, food, or a treasure token, we create all of them instead. Because of how many tokens we like to make in this deck, the other most important cards in this deck are, as a backup, Altar of the Brood. Basically turns all of our food, clue, and treasure tokens into mana dorks with Jaira. Kamal, Heart of Kroza, which makes our 4/4 bears into 7/7 trampler bears, and can absolutely just end games like that. And because I love doing degenerate shit, Seedborn Muse. Untap all permanents I control during each player's untap step. With it, one of the biggest things about this deck is A, trying to get as much mana out as possible, and B, trying to get as many tokens out as possible, because tokens give us mana. And the way we achieve both of these are whenever we turn a creature into, or a token into a creature, we can sacrifice them to Ashnod's Altar, giving us basically 3 mana per creature. Bootlegger Stash, which with an Academy Manufacturer turns basically our 1 mana lands into 3 mana lands. Fell War Stone, it's 2 mana drop, gives us more. The main part about Garruk Wildspeaker is giving us additional lands with that +1. The ultimate is nice, but we also have Kamal, Heart of Kroza, so it's not as beneficial, but is still nice. It is just a land search, deck thins. We can get a massive amount of devotion onto the field. We don't need the additional step with Ashnod's Altar to generate a creature, so we can just go ahead and sacrifice them for mana. All of our forests tap for additional greens. 2 mana mana rock searches out land, 1 drop. 1 mana drop gives us tokens that have indestructible, so we don't have to worry about our tokens being destroyed. Plus is also a mana rock, Soul Ring because it's commander, and Wayfarer's Bauble. Our actual token generators that we have in this deck include a Fog of Arachnogenesis, Awakening Zone, which happens on our upkeep, which also gives us mana, Carrion Call, because it generates a token with Infect. We can pump these 2 tokens to 4/4. They'll maintain Infect, which there is a little bit of synergy later along with Infect, which y'all will see. Creates a elf token and is toolbox, and later along can add for massive card draw. Upkeep creates a Scion, which can be sacrificed for mana, or we can turn it into a 4/4. At the beginning of upkeep, create a Wolf, and then we can later along, if it lasts that long, can actually burn our, I would probably say, our single-handedly biggest mana generator in the sense of Mycolith, and create, whereas the number of +1/+1 counters, thanks to Devour 2. Mirror Battlefield generates 4 off the top, 4 tokens on ETB, creates a token, pumps our board. Our biggest single hand treasure generator in Old Gnawbone, Ovaya Bashiri, can create a small one or can generate a massive creature who doesn't love doubling tokens. Phyrexian Swarmlord is what I was meaning earlier with where Infect has a minor engine in itself, in the sense of at the beginning of your upkeep, create a number of 1/1 insects with Infect for each poison counter each opponent has. So let's say if each opponent has 8, we'll generate 24 insects with Infect, which we can immediately turn into 4/4s. Retrofitter Foundry, because we like having Thopters with flying because they'll maintain it. Scepter of Celebration gives trample to something and can generate more tokens for us. Scute Swarm, because Scute Swarm and it absolutely multiplies. Let's just double all of our tokens at instant speed. At Tendershoot Dryad gives us token on each opponent's upkeep, or each upkeep including my own. So that's 4 across the table, and then gets a pump with whenever we have Eddie's Blessing, 10 or more permanents. And because of how Halzin is worded, if we turn a Sapperling into a 4/4, it's a bear in addition, so it'll maintain that pump, making all of them 6/6s. Tervigon, I'm assuming that's how it is. It's a draw card and generates tokens whenever it deals combat damage to that number, kind of like Scepter of Celebration. Because we are running Academy Manufacturer and Bootlegger Stash, of course I have Tireless Provisioner, which gives us a food or a treasure. It doesn't matter if Academy Manufacturer is out on the field. But if it's not, we'll typically go with treasures so that we can use them to extend our plays more. Tracker for the same reason, but we only get Clue. In the same sense, it is card draw. Undercell, or Myconid, which on ETB, and if it dies, generates a Sapperling for us. Verdant Command typically is going to be used for the create squirrel tokens and counter target loyalty ability of a Planeswalker. Even though it's a little more niche, it is there if we need it. Verdant Force, kind of like Tendershoot Dryad, creates a Sapperling on each opponent or each upkeep, so it can get out of hand real quick. Witch's Oven is a 1-drop in this deck. Well, it is going to be no matter what. But the important thing is, if the sacrificed creature's toughness was 4 or greater, create 2 food tokens instead. So once per turn, we can use a food token, turn it into a 4/4 bear, sacrifice it, and we'll get 2 food tokens back. Then if we have one of our other things, we can just continue to extend off like that. Last one of our token generators is Wolverine Riders, which same thing with Verdant Force and Tendershoot Dryad. Each upkeep, create a Elf Warrior and we just slowly start to gain life from it. The interesting thing though about Wolverine Riders is with it we can actually, whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. We can actually respond to this trigger with Halzen and gain 4 life. The way we get these 4 out, excluding Altar of the Brood, is through Court of Calling, which is a singular choice, but has Convoke and is basically a guaranteed Academy manufacturer for us. Instrument of the Bard. Typically, we want to search the legendary creatures so that we get this second effect in creating a treasure token. Called with a Forge Master. Sacrifice 3 artifacts, search for an artifact card, Academy manufacturer, and put it onto the battlefield. Time of Need searches for a legendary creature, which would either be Kamal or Jaira, depending on what we're needing. Uncage the Menagerie, search up to X creature cards with different names that each have converted mana cost X or less, put them into hand. So if we do usually we want to do X is equal to 4, I believe, so that we can get a 1-drop, a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 4-drop, giving us Academy Manufacturer, Ovaya, Tervigion, and I think that's it. Weird Harvest does the exact same thing, but it's for each player searches for X creature cards. Which typically, once again, we want to do 4. And Worldly Tutor, our best tutor of the deck, to search up any one creature, which typically is Academy Manufacturer. The cards I couldn't really place in any specific way are Gonti's Aetherheart, which, because we generate so much food, clue, and treasure tokens, we could just be taking extra turn after extra turn, extra turn. Oh, no, it's only 1. But, still, we can potentially just get this in 1 turn, basically. Evolutionary Leap to get us creatures off the top. Basically turn any of our tokens, as long as they're not one of the creature tokens, and potentially get something way better off the top of our deck. And Druid's Deliverance, because it's a fog that also gives us Populate. And then excluding Kamal Heart of Kroza, our game enders are basically a Chromeless Will, which give us all the keywords, basically, and protection from black and red. Oron Frostfang gives us Death Touch and draws us cards. Triumph of the Horde makes it so that our creatures deal infect damage and have trample, which, since we are making 4/4s, can absolutely end games. And power doublers, because why not? The last few draw cards I run in this deck are Colossal Majesty, because we can respond to this trigger with Halzen. Greater Good, because drawing 4 cards, discarding 3 is still plus. Idol of Oblivion, because there shouldn't be a singular turn where I don't generate a token. And Sylvan Library, because pay 8 life, draw 3 cards, is absolutely exponential in this deck. Evolving Wilds to deck thin. Gargoyle's Castle, because it makes a 3/4 gargoyle with flying. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. Gingerbread Cabin, creates us a food token if we have 3 or more other forests. Jungle Basin, so that we can bounce this back. Or our last one, Colony Garden, which generates a plant token. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. I know it's been a little bit since I've uploaded a deck tag, but in the same sense, I've had this deck made for a while, and I actually ended up posting it on my Spicy Commander Selection video and link down into the description. But if you want to see the actual pre-cron rumble, nope, I remember it, I have it flipped. Go look up, how am I trying to put this, go look up in that corner over there to go check it out. And this has personally become one of my personal favorite decks to just pull out in general. With it, for those that don't know, Calamax is a 4-mana teamer commander. Whenever I cast my first instant spell each turn, keyword each turn, if Calamax is tapped, copy it. I may choose new targets for the copy. Whenever I copy an instant spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's the second important part. Because one of the things I ended up doing with this deck is I tried having as many of the spells fall into one of 2 categories. One of which is being able to be put onto Isochron Scepter. Spoiler, it's in the deck. Second of which, draws us a card, because I like to churn through my deck as much as possible. For it, let's just go ahead and get right to this. Our draw cards are Academic Dispute, which is target creature may block or blocks this turn if able. It may gain reach this turn, but it allows us to loot. Aggressive Urge pumps us up, draws us a card. Archmage Ametarius is Magecraft. Cast or copy an instant or sorcery, draw a card. Curate, Surveil 2, draw a card. Desperate Ravings, draw 2 cards, discard at random. Glade Muse, whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, that player draws a card. Typically, we're going to be doing this more than our opponent. Growth Spiral, draw a card, put a land onto the battlefield from hand. Hunter's Insight, draws us a bunch of cards whenever we deal combat damage. Lunar Mystic, whenever we cast an instant spell, pay 1, draw a card. Monumentous Fall, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then gain life equal to its toughness. Which I have gained over 100 life before. I may have killed myself, but it was funny. Opt, scry 1, draw a card. Poison Blade gives us a keyword and Death Touch, draw a card. Pop Quiz has a 3-mana, basically draw 2, discard 1. And same thing with Practical Research, draw 4 cards, then discard 2, unless I discard an instant or sorcery. With it, for all of these different decks, you have to keep in mind that I believe all of them, let me double check this real quick. Yeah, each of these have the ability to, well, excluding Glade Muse and Lunar Mystic, will all get copied on different opponents' turns, giving us an additional trigger and giving us more cards. The cards that generate us mana in this deck are Arcane Signet, 2 mana any color, Commander Sphere, 3 mana any and draws us card, Crop Rotation, which thins out our deck, which is in this deck is a sacrifice, 1 mana, sacrifice a land, go search 2 basic lands, put them on the battlefield. Not tapped, by the way. Grand Warlord Rada, whenever attack with 1 or more creatures, add that much mana. We're not really a go wide, but the additional mana is nice. Haro, kind of like crop rotation, is the exact same thing, but sacrifice, put 2 onto the battlefield, and they are not tapped. Manamorph, add 2 mana of any color, add 4 with Calimax, and draw 2 cards, or draw 1 if you're already used 1 for the turn. This one puts them onto the battlefield tapped. Whenever I attack, add double red, which is beneficial, whether we use it for colorless or colored mana. Solemn Simulacrum from the precon. It searches a basic land and is fodder later along. Magecraft gives us a treasure token. We have 1 mana reducer in Rowan Scholar of Sparks. I decided this was the better one of the 2 because we have the ability to copy instants and sorceries in contrast to the other side. So with Calimax getting so big, the one thing I ended up having partial difficulty with was, how the hell do I get Calimax through? There's a few different ways depending on the deck. Trample, flying, or some form of unblockable. Which all of these next cards do, excluding 1. But that's for a different reason. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. Chaos Tormentor Lord gives Calimax double strike. Charge through gives us trample and draws us a card. +10/+10, trample, and Annihilator too. Enthusiastic Study. If we do this after declaration of attack with Calimax, this basically reads as +6/+2 and gains trample and draw 2 cards, discard 2. Hunter's Prowess is literally the only sorcery we have in the deck, but gains trample and allows us to draw cards equal to how much damage we did. Shadow Rift gives, well, Shadow, which is unblockable except by creatures with Shadow, which has fallen out over the years. Tybor and Lumia give Flying, which is the main important part, and Tuskguard Captain gives us trample for creatures that have +1/+1 counters. Since there's so much +1/+1 counter synergy in this deck, we also do run Hardened Scales, which doubles the amount we put on. Hydra's Growth, which also does the exact same thing, but on our upkeep, which literally doubles instead of putting an additional 1, but y'all know what I mean. Primal Empathy basically says draw a card because Calimax is typically going to be the biggest creature of them all. Primal Vigor because I love doubling +1/+1 counters. Shaman of Great Hunt. Whenever a creature deals combat damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card for each creature with power 4 or greater. Simic Ascendancy is a win con in this deck, plus we're able to very easily put over the 20 growth counters. Strength of Tanjaru allows us to put +1/+1 counters on target creature. First Tyrannical War, or Tyrannic War. First level doesn't matter, but the second and third level of the saga do because it doubles. Ozolith because people are going to want to remove Calimax for the whole Clade, which doubles counters, and Worth the Rage Spire gives us an additional ability to copy an additional spell, which this should actually be right down here in the copy section. With it, I'm just going to go ahead and move down here. Isochron Scepter, like I told you all at the beginning, gives us a copy. So does Gentataxius. Lithoform. Pyromancer's Goggles whenever it's a red instant or sorcery. We copy it. Riku can also copy stuff. Sakashima, because who doesn't love an additional Calamax? Thousand Year Storm, because it's an additional copy, giving us an additional +1/+1 counter on it. And our kind of... I really could have combined these two, but for some reason I didn't. Artifact Mutation gets rid of problematic cards. Chaos Warp, same thing. Evolutionary Charm. This is the most toolbox-esque from this section. Where we can get lands or give Calamax flying. And Peak lets us look at our opponent's hand. Who doesn't love information? If Calamax is tapped, we get to see two opponents' hands, see who's the threat assessment. Last few ones I have in this deck, Curious Herd, which lets us go a little wider depending on how artifact-centric players are. Druid's Deliverance, because it's a fog. Eon's Frolicker is one of the few cards that I actually ended up keeping from the pre-con, but it was such an overperformer that I was like, okay, this is a little more of a memory-esque thing for me. It ain't the best card, but in the situation it is very good. Lightning Greaves gives us Haste and Shroud. Even though we can't be the target, we can still move stuff around, move it around as needed. Rada is kind of like a one-trick pony, because this deck has a tendency to be big mana. It can definitely knock some people out and by surprise. Our last value piece is, or not value piece, but the last one-off piece is Seaborn Muse during your opponent or your end step. Well, it's not Seaborn Muse, but close enough, so that we can play on each opponent's turns. Last three cards I have in the deck, I couldn't really place anywhere else. Dika lets us go a little bit wider. Melik is at Paragon, lets us copy stuff from the top of the deck. And Talran, whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we also get to go wide. Okay. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, today I have potentially my oldest... Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, I am bringing to y'all potentially my oldest deck that I currently have built. And I have no plan to disassemble this deck because it's one of my personal favorites. And there's two different ways you can kind of look at this deck. Kaikar's Spiritual Flight, which is what the deck is named, and Kaikar, Oops All Spells, which is only like halfly true, but it seriously feels like that sometimes. With it, for those that don't know what Kaikar does, Kaikar is a 4-mana Jeskai commander with flying, and whenever I cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. Where the important part comes in is sacrifice a spirit, generate a red mana, which allows us to play more spells, to get us another spirit, to get us more mana, to extend our plays, and just rinse and repeat. With it, as y'all can see here, most of my spells in this deck read, draw a card in some form or another. So let's just do a quick roundabout real quick for this. Instant or sorcery, draw a card. Discard 2, draw 3. Discard a hand, exile, or temporary, draw 3. Sacrifice a creature, exile a top, may play it. And this is why I said like halfly true, because I use the cycle lands to dig through my deck a lot more. I don't really get mana screwed in this deck super often, and even though the lands aren't the best, the curve is so low to the ground where I can honestly just continue to cycle the lands. So I run the 3 colored cycle lands that are 2 mana. Desolate Lighthouse, which draws us a card at discard. Distant Melody for the number of spirits we control. Dragon Mantle draws us a card, plus can be a mana sink to potentially just Oko somebody. Drifting Meadow is another cycle land. Elsha gets us cards off the top as long as they're non-creature. Only 1/5 of the deck are actually creatures. Firemane Commando draws us a card. Forgotten Cave is another cycle land. Jataxian Probe, look at an opponent's draws card. Cycle land. Discard up to 3, draw that many. Cast a non-creature, draw a card, do discard, while also pumping our board. Sometimes I forget about this. Also untapping them, even though that's not as beneficial in this deck. Joyra draws us a card for historics, artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Cycle land, Mentor of the Meek, because we're generating 1/1 spirit tokens. Narset to get 4 cards off the top, and we can play them without cost with as long as they're non-creature. Neheb deals combat damage, discard that many, draw that many, and then add that much red mana. We don't lose that red mana. Naali gives our tokens, attacking tokens, double strike, and we can draw 3 cards off of it. Ponder, look at card selection and drawing a card. Reconnaissance mission, whenever a creature deals combat damage, draw a card. Cycle land. Can't block this turn. This has come in clutch for me a few times whenever I'm trying to avoid, I don't know, Phyrexian Obliterator and stuff like that. Secluded Steep is a cycle land. See the spoil, discard, draw 2, create a treasure. Serum Visions, draw 2, scry 2. Shorikai lets us draw 2, discard for 1 mana. Skull Clamp, we're generating 1/1, so let's just sack a spirit, equip to a spirit. That spirit dies, draw 2 cards. Cycle land. Smuggler's Copter, whenever attacks or blocks. Draw a card if I do discard. Also has flying, crew 1, which we can immediately use a spirit for to crew it. Whenever one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less, most of them are, enters the battlefield, draw a card. It may only activate once, but we're drawing a lot more. Tormenting Voice, discard, draw 2. Unexpected Windfall, discard, draw 2. Create 2 treasure tokens. Plus, whenever one or more a limited Mentor of the Meek, cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. We get a Words. A 1 mana draw 2, or 2 mana draw 2, as long as we have a creature with flying, which we have a bunch of. I'm just going to kind of skim over this for y'all. Well, a lot of these are like Pain lands and Signet lands. This is honestly why having so many of the cycle lands aren't as important, because we can just Pain land into cycle land or Signet land to extend plays. Our mana rocks that we run: Arcane Signet, Azorius, Boros, and of course Izzet, along with Everflowing Chalice. Sometimes we just need the repetitive big splunk of colorless mana. Mind Stone, because it also draws us a card, is also 2 mana. Soul Ring, because it's commander. Soul Talisman, because it suspends itself. Later along, we can use Kai card to get a spirit. Stormkiln, because it gives us treasure on instant and sorceries. Talisman and Conviction, because it mana fixes us. And Temple of the False God, because it gives us 2 instead of 1. With it, in this deck, it's actually one of the few decks that I run protection in. Whether it's something our opponents are targeting us for, or we're trying to prevent something, either flawless or Fierce Guardianship, Flawless Maneuver, Mandate Peace, Prismatic Strands, Swords to Plowshare, or Vandal Blast, one of those 6 can typically find us out of just whatever bind we find ourselves in. With so many different ways to get spirits out, I like to try and have as many different ways to trigger it as possible. Harmonic Prodigy, because Kaikar's a wizard. Helmlet Host, because who doesn't love additional Kaikars? Irenicus Vial Duplication, because we'll get a Kaikar trigger and another Kaikar if we don't want to do other things. Lithoform Engine, because we can copy other stuff to, whether it's the actual abilities or straight up one of our like synergy permanents. Strong Resonator, because it's an additional trigger, and Feyrod, because it is basically Storm on a stick. That's the best way to put it. Since this deck is so focused on what is it called? Spirits. Here's a few cards that actually work exponentially well with it. Atsushi, being a spirit on top of everything else. will also give us card draw or treasure tokens. Court of Grace, if we're not the Monarch, we generate spirit tokens. Or if we are the Monarch, we create an even bigger flyer. Shared Animosity, because we have so many different spirits we're making. So Kinzon, Crucible Defiance, because it makes spirits. Staff of Storyteller, ETBs with spirit, and then allows us to draw cards. And Ugin, which is by far one of the most sleeper hits in this deck, because that +1 reads, draw a card, add a red mana. It's a little strong. And the one-off effects in this deck that are still powerful on their own, Akim, which gives us an additional token creation every time we do it for the first time per turn, and gives our creatures double strike. Castle Embereth pumps our board. Castle Vantress lets us get card selection. Crash Through gives us trample and draws us a card. 5 Alarm Fire allows us to just start burning the fuck out of people because of the second ability. Whenever we remove 5 counters from it, which is very easy to do in this deck, to do 5 damage to anything that is problematic, whether it's players or creatures. Gutter Snipe, because we run a bunch of instants of sorceries, or more or less sorceries in this deck, and it pings for each opponent. Norn's Annex gives us a little bit of protection while also dealing 2 damage to our opponent every time they attack us, as long as they don't have white in their colors. And Ruhan, because Ruhan is fucking hilarious. Who doesn't love a 4-mana 7/7? You better pray to the Lords of Chaos that he doesn't swing at you. Ugh. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're seeing this. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell know I am. With it, I am bringing to y'all my all-time favorite Magic the Gathering Commander deck. Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. For those that don't know, Valduk is a 3-mana red commander that reads, at the beginning of combat, on your turn, for each aura and equipment attached to it, create a 3/1 elemental creature token with trample and haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. Whenever I first read this, I was like, haha, funny mono red Voltron. But the more I've played with this and the more I've made this deck my own, the more I realized it's not so much how many different things can I throw onto Valduk, but how many combats can I take, and how can I abuse this ETB while also keeping these tokens. So with it, there's a few different synergies that kind of go on into this deck. Whether it's burning my opponents out, suiting him up, taking additional combats, getting additional triggers, Yeah, I think that's actually it. So, what I decided to do was take each of these little aspects and mishmash them. Starting out with the burn package. City on Fire, because we generate a lot of elementals in this deck. And that Convoke is pretty spice. 5 Alarm Fire, because of how many elementals we create on this deck. We can honestly start blasting players out of the game. And have the Eternal, cares about how much our opponents lost and gives us a lot more mana for it. Perforos, for each of the elementals, we're doing an additional 2 to each opponent. Terror of the Peaks, for each elemental, we choose a target and deal 3 damage. Throne of the God Pharaoh, whenever at the beginning of our end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures. We can actually do this trigger before we exile our tokens. Oh. The equipments we run in this deck are Beamtown Beast Stick, because it generates us a treasure. Bloodforged Battle Axe, because it can replicate itself, giving us more equipments to put onto Valduk. Boots of Speed, because it has haste and equips for 1. Commander's Plate is by far the most broken thing in this deck, and is honestly probably the best card in the deck. Darksteel Plate has Indestructible and gives us Indestructible. Dragon Mantle, play for 1, replaces itself, so we don't have to worry about Valduk getting destroyed and Dragon Mantle going away. Plus, it can be a mana sink. Golem Skin's Gauntlets pumps us out. Hammer of Nazan, play for 4. Immediately equips and grants Indestructible. Inquisitor's Rosette gives Inquisitor's Rosette. What it does in this Inquisitor's Rosette gives us a body, gives us vigilance, and gives us Menache, which are all 3 pretty powerful things in this deck because of Valduk. We can still swing with him even though that's not the primary thing with him. Lightning Greaves is protection. Paradise Mantle is a 0-drop 1 equipped and gives us an elemental each turn while also ramping us. Rune of Speed, we can put onto Valduk to get another 1. Draws us a card so I don't have to worry about it dying. Body and Mind gives us protection from green-blue. Sword of the Animist ramps us. Sword of Truth and Justice, white and blue, and puts +1/+1 counters on it. Tensikoto's Maul gives us +3/+3 and trample, and equips for 1. Reaver Cleaver ramps the fuck out of us, and Zephyr Boots gives us flying, draws us a card, and then discards a card. Bergie lets us really storm out with this deck because of how many things we like to throw down. Legend Brawl makes all of our mana rocks and lesser artifacts become equipments, which pump Valduk, giving us more elementals. Chaos Warp, Deflecting Swap, both for protection. Coath Fire of Resistance ramps us and can do a little bit of burn, but I really just use it for searching out mountains. Martin Stromgold can end games whenever he attacks. And Sundial of the Infinite lets us keep our elementals. The way we really take care of our mana includes Arcane Signet, 2 mana. Ashnod's Altar turns our elementals into 2 colorless. Dockside Extortionist, because it's one of the best red cards. Lotus Bloom lets us, in one turn, have an additional 3 mana. Nyx Lotus, even though we don't have the biggest amount of devotion in this deck, it still outperforms. Phyrexian Altar, kind of like Ashnod's Altar. It's just kind of redundant with it. Ruby Medallion for red spells costing less. Soul Ring because it's commander. Soul Talisman because it's commander. And is once again redundant with Soul Talisman. The way we get additional combat... Why is Repercussion in here? You should have been in there. But Repercussion, whenever a creature is dealt damage, Repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller, which can minorly backfire, but with how many elementals we're creating, it's more than likely going to outdo the damage that we take from it. The way we get additional combats are Aggravated Assault, and if we have our altars, this can go infinite very easily. Bloodthirster, because it basically just reads, okay, do 3 additional combats because it has flying and trample. Breath of the Fury, which is a 1-card infinite basically, where we just slowly start passing it along all of our elementals and just can end the game outright. Combat Celebrant, which by itself gives us 2 combats as long as we exert it. And Scourge of the Throne, whenever we attack an opponent with the most amount of life, we get an additional combat once per turn. The way we do additional triggers include Harmonic Prodigy, because Valduk is a shaman. Helm of the Host, because it's Helm of the Host. And we can actually pass this along to Bloodthirster, Scourge of the Throne to get additionals. Kiki Jiki for the exact same thing. And Strionic Resonator for additional Valduk triggers. I actually need to move this down here. Two cards that I actually didn't sort without even realizing it earlier. Molten Psych basically wheels us into a new hand for whatever the highest number of lands, and we burn for the amount of artifacts we have. And Vandal Blast, which is a board wipe. Sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's not, but I like having at least one form of like protection like that. Actually, I'm going to just move these over here. The draw cards we have in this deck are Cathartic Pyre, because it burns and then discard 1 or discard up to draw 2. Chandra lets us wheel our hand. Culling Days lets us build incremental value over time while also being a sacrifice outlet. Duretti lets us discard, draw that many, and then we can also sacrifice an artifact, return a different artifact from graveyard to battlefield. Endless Atlas, because it's a 2-mana draw card as long as we have 3 mountains, or snow-covered mountains in this case. Expedite, target creature gains haste, draw a card. Faithless Savaging, discard, then draw a card. Rebound, Fist of Flame, draw a card until end of turn, target creature gets trample and gets +1/+0 for each card I've drawn this turn. Fiery Negotiator, exile the top 2 cards, choose one of them. I may play it this turn. Jessica's Will, potentially the best red card. In best case scenario, it is a add 7 red mana, draw 3 cards. Mask of Memory, whenever deal combat damage, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Skull Clamp because the elementals are 3/1. Sacrifice them and go into Skull Clamp because we equip it to one of the elementals, draw 2 cards. Stun, only part that really matters is draw a card. And Valakut Awakening lets us will as many cards as we want. And then draw that many +1. So it replaces itself. And then, by far, really, the other 2 best cards besides Commander's Plate are Goblin Matron, which searches a goblin. Can either get us Kiki Jiki or what I have, Goblin Engineer. Whenever it ETBs, search for a artifact card, put it into the graveyard, then shuffle, which doesn't sound the best, but if you were paying attention, there was a few different ways to reoccur with it. But the best part about this is sacrifice an artifact, return target artifact with mana value 3 or less from graveyard to the battlefield, which is basically all of them.